At work, you have some great policies, but are they being followed? Hi, I'm Ken Okel. Today, we're going to talk about strengthening your work policies, ways to make sure those important things that you need to have done a certain way are done the right way. At the end of this presentation, you will have an opportunity to download a special guide that I put together that highlights some of the key points that we're talking about today, so stay tuned for that. A big challenge when you have a lot of policies is you may find that you're kind of like a security guard. You're always having to look over people's shoulders, make sure they're doing things the right way. That can become exhausting and take up a lot of your time and keep you away from some of your big picture goals. I think it's much better to make sure that the policies are easily known, understood, and followed. So this is a big part of it. Can these important policies be found? When someone has a question about how is this done, are they able to look it up somewhere? Is it kept online in some sort of folder? Do people know where that folder is? Are there like 20 versions of the document and people may not be sure which one is the right one? Is the information in a manual, a physical manual that is kept in a desk drawer somewhere? It's not easily accessible. In that moment, when someone needs some information in today's world where you want it now, people are going to want it now. They have had that expectation set. Make sure it's easy to find. Alternatively, if people can't find it somewhere, they may come to you. Maybe this isn't a bad thing, but it represents an interruption and it could hurt your productivity. When you're trying to work on something and someone comes to you saying, hey, what's the deal with our vacation policy? It takes up your time. If it can be easily found, it can be easily followed. So let's talk about, are those rules being followed? Because that can really give you some insight into whether your policies still work. Maybe you have an organization where you got a bunch of rebels. They like to do things differently. They're independent thinkers, so they may be taking a different path. That path may be a shortcut that you want to follow later on, or that path may take you away from doing what you want to do. It may be something where it makes it easier for the employee, but actually undermines the process. Pay attention, see what's being followed and what's not being followed. Because there's always a chance that what you have as policies have gone out of date, like the cassette tape. Though I admit I still have quite a few, haven't played them for decades, but I still have them. I realize, though, they're out of date technology. So have some of your steps, your procedures, your processes just become out of date? I mean, think about how 20 or so years ago, if you had to send a document to someone, if you needed to do it fast, you would hire a courier service where someone would come over, pick it up, and take it somewhere. Wow. Nowadays, you can attach it as an email. Things have changed. The same thing can apply to policies in your business, where maybe something that worked well in the past just isn't quite a fit now or just seems inconsequential. Look to see if things are out of date. And here's a key thing for checking to see if your policies and procedures are up to date and still useful for everyone. Are things frustrating employees when they have to do the policy? For instance, let's say someone has to run a monthly report. And this report requires them to look up all this information and pull from different sources and build spreadsheets and sort the spreadsheets and then put it into something else. Is there a way to do all of that work in one process? That new process may have been invented in the past year. Maybe it's an investment in some computer software, but it's out there. Someone may have gotten used to all those different steps, but they take up a lot of time and they keep them from doing other things. And it's also hard if you have to train someone new in it because they're going to be like, 50 steps to do one thing? That's crazy. See where are those points of frustration, the parts of the job that maybe people don't like. And that can be a good question to have. What parts of your job frustrate you? It's not saying, what do you not like or are you ready to quit? You're more about asking them, what are things that aren't working as well for you as maybe they should, which opens the door for you to possibly improve them later on. Final thing I see a lot when policies and procedures aren't being followed, it happens with turnover. Employees are going to come and go. That's part of the game. When new employees come in, are they given the opportunity to receive the training that everyone else has had? Sometimes when you're understaffed, you're so excited to have that new employee, you kind of rush through things really fast. You don't give them that full training experience. Along those lines, let's say you brought in a sales trainer to spend a day with your team, coach everyone up, give them lots of strategies, good ideas. Well, a new employee may hear some of those tips secondhand, but they haven't had that full training session that everyone else had. So how can you expect them to sell at that same level? In this case, you may want to have periodic times to retrain, where you would bring in that outside trainer again and have everyone in there. This can be good not only for the new employees, but also for the ones who have been around for a while. Remember, if you invested in good training in the past, you probably need to make sure it's maintained and shared with new employees in the future. For more about me, my name is Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker. I talk to audiences about ways you can boost your performance on the job, and I pull from a background that includes broadcast news, hurricane relief, and professional ballet. I know, unusual combination, but in each and every field, I had to perform at a high level every day. You want to contact me? A couple ways you can do that. You can always go to my website, find out more about me, kenokel.com, see some clips of my presentations. If you want to send me an email, that address is tvguy@kenokel.com. Funny story about that. When you work in TV news and you're out in the public, people will recognize you, but they won't remember your name. So they'll just yell out something random like, "Hey, TV guy," hence the email. You're also welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I do ask in your connection request, the note that you send, could you please mention where we first encountered one another, like in this presentation? That helps me separate you from the people out there who might not be interested in a good connection, but rather a chance to try to sell me stuff. You may have been there before. Finally, here is the guide that I talked about. It goes over some of the key points. I'll put the download link in the chat section right now. If you're watching this later on YouTube or on my website, hey, how you doing? You're welcome to download it as well. I will put that information in the little show notes there. You've got great policies. You've got great procedures. Maybe they need to be adjusted, updated, or you just make it easier for people to follow them. Give these strategies a try. I'm Ken Okel. Take care.